Wrap things up for the day. What a day of competition we've had. Had big waves, massive performances. A day of upset's been the theme. Welcome back into the booth, Pete Mel, for the post show, mate. Just some kind of thoughts, some key takeaways from you from a big afternoon of surfing.
Well, I don't think you want to be on the championship tour in this day. It's kind of what it's after. I mean, really, we saw a slaughter of our top seeds going down today. That last one there with Jack Freestone. So frustrating to see him get such a solid wave and then just could not find a second one. I mean, he had, what, almost 20 minutes to get a wave of a 3, and he couldn't do it. So that goes to show how hard this lineup was.
And Ben, we've been talking about how these QS 10,000s, really in terms of that level, in terms of performances, right up close behind the CT, and that's been reflected by some of our maybe lesser known athletes, less favoured athletes, putting in some big upsets.
Yeah, we have. We've seen some lesser known kind of young Australians, for example, the Zaffis, who tore it, Sheldon Simkus were a couple of examples earlier on that, just raising their level to 10,000, they're up against some of the big seeds, and they've really stepped up in conditions that were super challenging.
All right, well, let's remind ourselves of our top 5 moments of the day. And Ben, you mentioned Chris Zaffis. He's going to kick us off. And a big performance from him using those 2-turn combinations. And he was absolutely firing down here.
Well, those top 5, and you talked about the young names that are being now trying to get themselves in the spotlight. Zaffis was one of those guys today, getting an excellent number early in the day. It was a challenging morning, being that it was big and wild and not a ton of waves, had this nice open face, and Zaffis found it. And he was not scared to go big on the lip. Nice flow in his maneuvers and on a real good size wave.
Sheldon Simkus came to the party. This was an 8.77. This was at the time the best wave been ridden of the day, and he just absolutely found a clean face, and he was all over it like some type of massive Currumbin wall from the Coolangatta, this kid. And yeah, this kick out was a little favourite of yours, wasn't it, Paul?
You think about this one here, Federico Moraes. I mean, this is when all of a sudden the joint started hopping. We had the Billabong VIP above us. They were going nuts. Corona's flowing, and the Kikosh chants happening, and it motivated him to surf really well. Good two-wave combo for him, and definitely some spice, keeping that momentum going after his Azores win. And again, he knows how important this event will be to his campaign to make it onto the 2020 tour.
Next up, it was Evan Geiselman. Sorry, it's Federico Moraes. Another effort from him.
It's the two waves that he got in this one, right? And out there, really got his first wave in the first minute. Really, we were on break when he got a 7.67. He was able to find this one for his backup and make it pretty easily. Although he's going to have another tough draw tomorrow, so it doesn't get any easier here. But you have to say he's by far the local favorite here.
Kickass doesn't mind a bit of pressure on hometown surf in Portugal, and this was Geiselman, a massive hit from him.
Oh, that bottom end turn was a thing of beauty, and then he hit the lip. He only goofy footed to get right up there in the big scores, and then he wasn't done after that huge turn. I reckon that first turn would have been one of the highest scores waves of the day, and then he managed to finish it all off, and what a performance.
A bit of pressure on this young lad, Jorgen Cousinet, who's been close to qualification at this time of year. And if he was feeling any pressure today, he wasn't showing it. Put on a massive heat total, Pete.
He did. And an 8 to start the heat, an 8 to back it up, 16 points heats. That's an excellent heat score. That's caliber surfing that you need to have on the championship tour. And he showcased it here today in some great conditions. You'd have to say his confidence is going to be starting to come and get a bit higher because he hasn't had a great European leg. I mean, this is the first 2 events. We had the 10,000, didn't do all that great there. I got a 25th in the Azores. So those are 2 scores he's not going to want to keep in his scoreline going into his campaign to 2020. So you'd have to say that he doesn't want to have what happened to him for the last 2 years, where he shows up in Hawaii, he's got that chance, he's inside the cut line, and then fall out right at the very end of the season. So he's learned, I think, his lesson.
Well, you mentioned, Pete, not a great European campaign this September, but what a way to kick things off and give yourself a bit of extra confidence to come into the next round, nailing the big total, putting a huge number up there. That's going to fill him with confidence.
It sure would, and he's got to carry it. I think that, of course, he's coming into this event. This is perfect for him, that big forehand snap that he has. So if he can keep that roll going and get himself on some quality waves, I'd say he can go pretty far on this draw.
All right, well, as we wrap things up, it's time to think about our EDP wave of the day. And a big performance, unfortunately, not the result he wanted for Imai DeVault. Got himself a massive number, still bowing out of competition. But what a wave from Imai.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the 9.4, the biggest wave and best wave of the day, and he couldn't back it up. But let's just enjoy the moment, because he just got better and better as he went down the line, driving off the bottom. And you just think, well, he's on to a good score here, but he starts to put the afterburners on. Searing turns. He's from Maui. He knows power when he sees it. Floats over with his style. There's no wobbles. There's no sort of burns. There's a bit of a layback, a bit of style grab there. And then there's the end section with a massive tag, and that was
It's
amazing.
like Kona wins Honolulu Bay, and he's from Maui. It's kind of had remnants of it if you squint your eyes.
We had Taj and Wilco in the booth, and they were just groaning and grunting with pleasure on that one. It was so smooth, the polish to it too. The blend of radical style, aggressive surfing with the polish. Unfortunately, bout out competition, we won't see any more of Imai here in Ericeira.
Yeah, that's a really tough one when you can have a 9.4 and can't find that backup. Tribute to the other two competitors who were able to get the higher total.
All right, well, it's been a massive day of competition here. We thank you for your company, for joining us online. Next call, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, local time. Join us for it then. We think we're still going to have great waves here at Ericeira. We'll see you tomorrow.